Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 26. What do you mean by that sentence? The appearance of a new superhero. On the west coast of Venice, the square became dilapidated after a great war. Many surrounding houses were not spared either, and several buildings collapsed, some of which were crumbling if not falling. My God, saved. Those guys just now, where did they come from? It should be a member of a superhero organization. Don't worry about it, if it weren't for them, the city would probably be flattened. The survivor who had been hiding in the dark came out in shock. Their faces are full of joy, and the feeling of survival after the catastrophe makes people unable to help but greedily take a big breath. Hey guys, are you all right? Peter Parker didn't care about the momentum of the clothes, and immediately found Lizzy and the others. It's okay, Peter, we were discussing those big guys just now. They hit the water titan, do you know any news? When Ned saw him coming, he immediately asked with winks. I don't really understand what you're talking about, but those big guys are pretty good. Peter Parker nodded back. Lee, are you injured? I didn't expect the water titan to come here just now. Later, Wanda's eyes fell on Lizzy for the first time, and after confirming that she was not injured, she was secretly relieved. We were lucky it didn't hurt us. Lizzy turned around and said that there was no injury on his body. By the way, I remembered something. After Wanda finished speaking, she immediately thought of something. Do you still remember those men in black who appeared when Wilson went to Westview Town to organize a fundraising event and was attacked? Well, what's the matter? When Lizzy heard this, his expression was extremely calm. Those big guys just now are very similar to the men in black before. There may be some kind of connection between them. Wanda frowned. Her delicate pretty face showed seriousness. I wanted to chase them, but they ran too fast. I don't think so. Lizzy pretended to be deep in thought, and said for a moment, Wanda, you are worrying too much, maybe it's just the same clothes. I may be a little tired. When the water titan appeared, I obviously didn't feel the presence of a living creature, but it may be some kind of materialization. Wanda is slightly tired. She has origin magic power, but that doesn't enhance her physique. Therefore, her physical fitness is almost the same as that of ordinary people. After sitting on the plane for more than 8 hours, I played for another afternoon. A pair of charming beautiful eyes have long been full of fatigue. Then let's go back and rest. Lizzy felt a little distressed, and turned to the people behind him and shouted, everyone, let's go back and tidy up first, it's time for dinner soon. I haven't had Italian food yet. Ned raised his hand and said loudly. Does pasta count? Peter, spaghetti is already bad all over the world, it's not really Italian. Yeah, pasta is as bad as baguette. A group of people had just experienced a supervillain's attack, but they didn't feel too much fear. Instead, they chatted and returned to the hotel. The main reason is that they have been baptized by too many doomsdays, especially Thanos' snapping of his fingers, which has already made them numb. Everyone went back to take a shower and tidy up, and rested for more than an hour. The setting sun set in the deep sky outside the exhibition, and the darkness of night gradually occupied the sky. Today, Venice was attacked by unknown creatures. At a critical moment, several men in black appeared to assist another mysterious person and kill the water elementals. Currently, netizens call the men in black shadow trolls, thinking that they are like the former Avengers member Green Titan, possessing unparalleled power and will become a new superhero alliance. Another mysterious person was called a mystery guest by netizens. Hotel restaurant. Peter, do you think the black shadow troll is a super ability user, or a young man like me? Ned has always felt that he is big and has the potential to become a superhero, and he can't stop talking when he comes back. Trust me, Ned, it will do. MJ Michelle at the next table said. I knew there would always be someone with a good eye, Resby. Ned smiled. Actually, Mysterio is also very strong. Peter Parker's eyes fell on the mysterious guest, who always gave him a very strange feeling. But he couldn't tell. Moreover, since arriving in Venice, he always felt that something was missing. The other side. Lizzy and Wanda sat face to face at the dining table, hearing the report of today's news. It seems that the Black Shadow Trolls are about to become famous, and now many people on the inn say that they are the Green Titan group. Wanda looked at the TV with a complicated expression. It's not a good thing for Chaoying to be famous, there are many troubles. Lizzy could see that she was not in a good mood, mainly because she was here today. But no one mentioned Chaoying in the news, and no one mentioned Chaoying at the scene, which shows how low his presence is and how hurtful he is. I don't feel sad. Wanda heard the comforting words, and looked at him stubbornly with her clear eyes. Okay, but I'm telling the truth. My good neighbor, Spider-Man, has been being interviewed recently. He is too busy to fight criminals, but he still has to be interviewed. Lizzy glanced at Peter Parker, who was sitting next to Ned, muttering, but the other party didn't notice this side, and had been observing MJ Michelle. Do not talk. Wanda gave him a blank look. There was so much nonsense, comparable to little Spider-Man. Suddenly, she remembered something and smiled slightly. What did you mean when you gave me flowers today? Chapter 27. What did you mean when you gave me flowers today? The corners of Wanda's slightly curved mouth resembled a crescent moon, revealing expectations. Lizzy patted his head. Damn, forgot about it. When I was buying flowers before, I said that inexplicably. Don't be stupid, I remember clearly. Wanda put away her smile and put on a serious face. If she denied it, she wouldn't suggest going to Doctor Strange and learning backtracking magic. Take a look back at the scene at that time. Okay, I confess. Lizzy pondered for a moment, and said simply. Confession of what? Wanda stared at him with an inexplicable sense of expectation and impulse in her heart. Actually, I accidentally saw the flower seller wearing ripped shoes, so I bought that rose and gave it to you. Lizzy racked his brains for a long time, and finally came up with this sentence. Lizzy. Wanda's eyes and brows were tightly frowned, and she seemed dissatisfied with the answer with a sullen face. Outsiders look at Scarlet Witch and think she is cold-tempered. In fact, under the cold appearance, the witch is just an ordinary woman. There are also 7 emotions and 6 desires. You're angry. Lizzy raised his eyebrows and asked the question knowingly. No, I just don't think you're honest enough. Wanda glanced away. She wouldn't admit she would be mad at something like this. Lizzy glanced around and saw that no one was paying attention, so he stared at the witch in front of him and asked, Wanda, let me ask you a question. You invited me to Venice for vacation. Relational. Wanda was stunned, and walked around to her side while talking. Don't lie, be frank and lenient. Lizzy reached out and rubbed her head and said, if you tell the truth, I will also tell the truth, everything is equal. Wanda was stunned for a moment. She didn't know how to answer the Eastern man in front of her. Looking back on her relationship during this period, it seems that since she met her, the depression in her heart has gradually dissipated, and her personality has also been infected and become optimistic. Perhaps, this is the bond of hearts. The resulting chemical reaction. And this kind of chemical reaction also made her feel very delicate about Lizzy's existence. A little bit, she seems to have to admit that she has become a little dependent on Lizzy, going to find him for dinner every day, and going for a walk together when she is in a bad mood. Really rely on him. Wanda definitely understood what it meant. She hesitated for a moment, and said with hesitation, there is a saying in your wuxia, called long-term love, which means that if you get along for a long time, you will develop a good impression and you will even become dependent in your heart. Quote. You like me. Lizzy admired the witch in front of her, with a beautiful face, as white as an elf in the forest. At this moment, she bowed her head shyly, but her clear and beautiful eyes were still alluring, and her tender red lips made people want to kiss forever. After Wanda heard it, she hesitated for a while to make sure that everyone ran to the bar to watch the TV, and then she nodded vigorously. Then she immediately explained, actually, it's normal to like someone. I like you because you are interesting, optimistic, and funny, and you can always be by my side. Which, I didn't say it was abnormal. Seeing her reaction, Lizzy couldn't help but smile. So, does what you said before sending flowers mean? Wanda stared at him and asked. Why doesn't it count? That's what I said to an intellectual and sexy woman. Lizzy rubbed the witch's head again, her eyes full of doting. In fact, he had thought about Wanda from the beginning. But that's what men appreciate about her. Later, after getting along, his appreciation gradually changed. It was not until today in Venice that he figured out what he was thinking. Shish. At the bar, MJ Michelle blew to little Spider-Man, Peter, your Aunt Wanda has fallen. Oh, Mr. Lee is really my idol. He won the strongest Avenger. There are many things from the Witch Council. Ned opened his mouth wide, and his eyes almost burst into love. Both of their faces were full of disbelief. Stop rubbing, those kids are still here. Wanda slapped the hands on her head, feeling a little embarrassed for being an introvert. Then let's go back to our room. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, without waiting for her to answer, Lizzy grabbed her hand and ran straight upstairs, leaving only the sound of footsteps for a moment. Thank you so much, he will really win the strongest Avenger. Ned murmured stupidly to himself. I wish them happiness. Peter Parker was not surprised. Although he was a child, he had already guessed when Lizzy and Wanda appeared at the same time. The two will sooner or later. Because his Aunt May and Happy are in this state. Room on the second floor. Crack, crack. The door opens. Lizzy was stopped when he was about to walk in. Lee, there is something I want to tell you. Wanda behind her blushed softly. What's up? Lizzy was puzzled. Can you give me some time? I'll talk about it later, because this is my first time, I want to be more holy. Wanda's voice was like a mosquito, and her lowered head almost fell to the ground. Is this your first time? Lizzy realized that he had said the wrong thing, and immediately changed his words, I respect your choice. But it was the first time I heard of a witch. He was naturally ecstatic in his heart, but it was normal to think about it carefully. Wanda and Vision are only bonded because of mind gem, not real love, and the latter doesn't have ability at all. Since it was the first time for the witch, he would choose to respect it even more. Definitely not the first time and will. However, you have to reward me in other ways. Lizzy pulled her into the room. What aspect? No, why should I reward you? Wanda always felt that something was wrong, this guy didn't seem to be doing anything good. Where did the reward come from? Don't ask, men can give rewards anytime they want. Lizzy thought of the stock before time travel, and smiled slightly. Don't want. Wanda shyly refused, unlike most people who grew up in America. She was ruthless and couldn't let go of such things. Even wearing revealing clothes feels weird and uncomfortable. Wanda. Lizzy looked at Wanda with her head down. How could she not have noticed that witches are so shy when they get along with each other before? However, when he was about to reach out, sudden whoosh, the witch who had been standing there suddenly raised her head, her eyes were glowing scarlet, and the temperature around her seemed to drop suddenly. Before Lizzy could react. Next second, she turned into an afterimage and passed Lizzy, coming behind her. Boom, what are you up to? Wanda's cold voice came from behind, completely different from the voice just now. What happened to Wanda? Lizzy was puzzled, turned around and saw a person pinched by Wanda's hand. It turned out to be Nick Fury, who had disappeared for a long time. And beside him dropped a tranquilizer gun. Cough, cough, cough. Struggling, Nick Fury struggled to explain. Wanda's sorry, I didn't mean to hurt him, I just wanted him to sleep. As a super agent, he is very confused. Because there is an urgent task to find Wanda, and worried about being discovered by outsiders, he planned to let Lizzy sleep, but he was caught in the blink of an eye. You'd better be careful next time. At the moment Wanda's eyes were extremely cold, and the temperature all over her body plummeted. Wanda let him go. Lizzy was surprised that Wanda lost control of his emotions, and he didn't want Wanda to accidentally kill someone, so he said hastily. Boom. Wanda was very obedient, and realized that she was a little out of control, and immediately let go of Nick Fury. She panted heavily, and explained with reddish eyes, Lee, I'm sorry for losing my composure just now. I didn't know what happened just now, but when she saw Nick Fury pointing a gun at Lizzy, her heart suddenly tightened and she subconsciously shot. Maybe it's the fear of losing someone close to me, and it's the only one. Chapter 28. It's okay, he should be lucky to have survived under the hands of the strongest Avenger. Lizzy rubbed Wanda's head, then looked at Nick Fury, who was a little embarrassed on the sofa. He remembers the current Nick Fury, not the real Nick Fury. But the Skrulls have changed, the real Nick Fury is in outer space, probably lying on a chair for vacation at the moment. You are calm. Nick Fury met his gaze, and his years of intuition immediately allowed him to see those deep eyes, revealing a different indifference from ordinary people. If an ordinary person saw him, he would feel more or less oppressed. This guy seems so calm. Has a problem. Fury, Lizzy doesn't know you. Wanda heard the sound, and protected Lizzy behind her, staring at the one-eyed black man vigilantly like a kitten protecting food. Sorry, I lost my temper. Nick Fury was taken aback when he saw this. It was the first time he saw Wanda protecting others like this, and it was a man. Except Vision, that guy is not human. But he didn't have time now, so he hurriedly stated the purpose of his trip. Wanda, I'm here to ask for your help, I need a superhero. I don't want to participate in any more missions, you can find someone else. Wanda shook her head decisively. The most recent mission was the one in Germany before the extinction. And that mission is still impressive, she missed and killed countless people. Wanda, I used to cover the sky with only one hand and know everything on the global intelligence network, but 5 years later, the intelligence network that I once established fell apart, and my eyes and ears were closed. I need your help, the help of a top superhero. Nick Fury said with a serious expression. Lizzy next to him didn't interrupt, nor would he dissuade Wanda. Instead choose to respect her choice. I can't do it. The super ability organization that emerged today, aren't they also dealing with a new crisis? Wanda still shook her head and refused. Lizzy, who was sitting on the chair, coughed lightly. Why he kept mentioning him for nothing. It is currently impossible to determine their camp, and they may be organizations from other universes, or they may pose a threat to this universe. Nick Fury said in a deep voice. After the Black Shadow Troll group appeared today, he immediately investigated all the cameras, hoping to find clues. But the Black Shadow Troll group appeared and disappeared completely out of thin air. He couldn't find any traces, and with the mysterious guest as a multi-universe visitor, he temporarily judged the Black Shadow Troll group as a multi-universe visitor. But they knocked down the Water Titan in a few hits. A joke flashed in Lizzy's eyes, and he joked. That's not a Water Titan, it's a group of water elements. In addition, without the offensive in front of the mysterious guest, the Black Shadow Troll can't do it at all. Boy, I told you, but you didn't understand. Nick Fury was a little speechless when he heard what an ordinary person said, and answered from a professional perspective. After seeing the strength of the mysterious guest, he is more willing to believe that the mysterious guest severely injured the water elemental crowd, which contributed to the end of the Black Shadow Troll. Afterwards, Nick ignored Lizzy, an ordinary person, and looked at Wanda and said in a deep voice, Wanda, listen to me, what happened this time threatened the world. Tony Stark, the Iron Man who deserves the respect of countless people, he snapped his fingers, it is not to let the world experience another devastation, but to protect him well. The previous words had no effect, so I had to move out the dead Tony. Apparently it worked. Wanda recalled the comrades who died in the war, and after a moment of silence, she nodded, okay, you can send the mission information to my mailbox. Thank you, Wanda. Nick Fury breathed a sigh of relief, the strength of the elemental crowd is strong. With Scarlet Witch on board, everything would be a lot easier. So I witnessed the secret meeting of the two Avengers, am I considered to be half an Avenger? Lizzy was not surprised by the result. But before coming here, he thought it was just a simple trip to Venice. In the end, he was able to return to Westview Town, but now he encountered a mysterious guest incident. Then he will have fun with the mystery guest. Well, you can be regarded as half an Avenger, because the Avenger has a condition that the race must be human, and you are lucky to have one of them. You too, I will arrange a new trip tomorrow, see you tomorrow. Having completed the purpose of this trip, Nick Fury didn't want to stay for a long time, so he got up and shook off his cloak, walked to the window, and pulled down the window forcefully. Didn't tear it apart, twice or not torn apart. This window. Nick Fury found the window stuck. Crack, crack, boom. At this time, a hand suddenly opened the window, and the iron bar that was stuck on the window suddenly broke. Turning around to see Lizzy with a smile on the corner of his mouth, he said to him, don't be surprised, you have pulled it a few times before, so that I can pull it away so easily. Ahem, cough, that's exactly the truth. Nick Fury was slightly embarrassed, jumped out of the window, and crawled along the side to the little Spider-Man's room next door. Boom. Aren't you worried? After closing the window, Wanda wondered. Worry about what? Lizzy pulled her to sit on the sofa and asked back. The new doomsday, Wanda recalled. I perceived Nick Fury's emotions. He was very nervous and worried. This crisis is probably not small. With you, don't worry too much. Lee, where are your hands touching? You said you would reward me, don't worry, I won't cross the line. Actually there are other places that can be used. Wanda, omitted here. However, When Lizzy and Wanda were in Venice, they had a sweet trip. Far away in Westview, America. In front of the TV. Agatha sat on the chair with a livid face, watching the content presented on the screen. Especially when seeing the figure of the black shadow troll. Her face became more gloomy. She stroked the rabbit in her arms, and said coldly, "Mr. Strachey, it seems that you guessed correctly, it seems that we may go to Venice. We must not let this guy get ahead." Chapter 29. Night fell. The deep space shrouded in darkness is full of stars, and the water city of Venice has gradually fallen into tranquility, with the rustling sound of the sea breeze blowing. At the same time, somewhere in a dank basement. Take off the hood, everyone here knows your true face. It's useless to pretend to be mysterious. Breathing through a layer of chemical fiber cloth is thankless. Nick Fury walks through the dark passage, leading little Spider-Man into the makeshift underground base. Have you looked for Wanda? Peter Parker took off his hood, remembering that Wanda was here when Fury came to him for help. There is a top superhero living next door, what else do you need to do with him? She should be having a tryst with her little boyfriend now, but she has agreed to join our operation. This is Mitty Try, and this is Maria Hill. Nick Fury walked in front and introduced two agents one after another, a big man holding a gun, and his right-hand man, Agent Hill. The last one is Mr. Baker. Finally Nick Fury points to a man wearing a cape battle suit. Mystery guest. Peter Parker naturally recognized that the person in front of him was the mysterious person who fought against the water elementals today, but he didn't expect him to be with Nick Fury. What? Quentin the mysterious man was stunned. It's nothing, that's the nickname my friend gave you. Peter Parker was a little nervous, and casually mentioned in order to ease his emotions, you know, they all like to nickname superheroes, like those big guys are called the Black Shadow Trolls. Netizens now feel that the Black Shadow Troll will become the new Green Titan. Hear this. Quentin clenched his hands under the table, the gloom in his eyes was fleeting, and a smile appeared on his face, not a bad name. Fury, are the Black Shadow Trolls also ours? If they are here, I think everything will be much easier. Peter Parker was too innocent, didn't see anything unusual, and said to himself. No, Quentin spoke first, with a slightly gloomy tone, Peter, everything depends on us, don't count on others. It's the Shadow Troll again. He has heard this name countless times since last night. Although some people mentioned the mysterious guest, there were only a few of them. Damn, originally all the glory belonged to him alone. In the end, a wedding dress was made for the unknown Joker of the Black Shadow Trolls. If you expect other people to be useful, my world will not be destroyed. But he couldn't show it. On the surface, there was depression between his brows, and he spoke slowly. What, you said your world? Peter Parker keenly grasped the key points, and said with a puzzled expression. Mr. Baker is also an Earthling, but he is from his 663 universe. Nick Fury paused, and continued, it's just that his universe was destroyed by the elements, and he was forced to escape here through the crack, and what you saw today is the elements. There were 4 of them, and now 2 have been wiped out, and there are 2 more. Quote, their existence is enough to destroy the world, which is why I asked you to participate in the mission. After hearing this, Peter Parker felt dizzy and had a bitter face. I don't want to participate in any action, I just want to have a good summer vacation, and Wanda will help you. Speaking of Wanda, there is one thing I need your help with. Tomorrow you will be in the same car, heading to Prague together. At that time, help me pay attention to a person, Lizzy. Quote. Nick Fury thought of that unusually calm Oriental man, and he always felt something was wrong in his heart. That is derived from the sixth sense brought about by years of agent career. No, I refuse. Wanda cares about Mr. Lee very much. They just held hands today. I refuse to do this kind of thing, and I have to go back. Peter Parker was decisive, turned around and walked back. Passing by Quentin, he said apologetically, sorry, I can't go to Prague with you. It doesn't matter. Quentin patted him on the shoulder, watched him leave before looking away. Fury, what now? Hill worried. Don't worry, he will go to Prague obediently tomorrow. Nick Fury wasn't worried at all. He leaned back on the chair and closed his eyes to meditate. As if everything is under control. And Quentin said he had to leave in advance. Next morning, hotel entrance. A black minivan was parked on the side of the road. The students came out one after another, and were stunned when they saw the buses at the door, because the design of these two buses seemed too avant-garde. It's a bit like a transport van for escorting prisoners. Wanda, it seems that black marinated eggs are quite innovative. Lizzy looked at the shape of the bus and joked. Black marinated eggs. Wanda was startled, and realized who it was. Nick Fury, don't you think he looks alike? Lizzy reminded with a smile. Oh, you'd better not say that, his temper is actually not very good. After Wanda finished speaking, she felt that it was inappropriate, and added in a low voice, because he often said that FK. Then he must be F King Foxia. Lizzy thought of Nick Fury's nickname in his previous life. Haha, Lee, you are so funny, but he may not like this nickname even more. Wanda listened, the corners of her mouth curled up into a smile that couldn't be suppressed. At this time, in the hotel, Mr. Linton, who accompanied Peter's school, strode out. His face was full of joy. He held up the documents in his hands and shouted, "Everyone, we are going to Prague." What? Peter Parker, who was whispering to Ned, was suddenly dumbfounded. Yes, we got lucky, the travel agency just called and we upgraded to Prague. Hot Teacher Linton said loudly. It's over. Peter Parker is stupid. What's wrong? Ned wondered. Our vacation might be hijacked by Nick Fury. Peter Parker has never been loveless in his life. Nick Fury said before that the mission location is Prague, and Wanda and Lizzy are also going to Prague. He thought he could escape this time. As a result, he underestimated the strongest agent in the world. Even after Shwomu came back 5 years later, he could still easily control the affairs of most ordinary people. Changing the destination of a tour group is just a piece of cake. Chapter 30. The deep sky is as pure as a lake, the blue sky is like washing, and it is boundless. A road runs through the forest among the dense forests. Looking at the modern village at the bottom of the mountain, the European-style house structure is like a scene in a fairy tale. Another enjoyable trip. Lizzy sat by the window, stretched out and leaned on the chair, admiring the beautiful scenery along the way. Aren't you happy every day? Seeing his contented expression, Wanda smiled. Happiness is also graded, not to mention it's different now. As Lizzy said, he turned his head and looked over, his eyes softened a lot. Wanda met his gaze, and naturally knew what this guy was referring to. Is it really that good? Liking and being liked is a beautiful thing. Lizzy touched her little hand and nodded. Ahem. Peter Parker, who was sitting behind, coughed lightly, and looked away. Lying down can be force-fed a lot of dog food. Then he picked up a pair of translucent sunglasses and put them on, only to see that his good brother Ned not far from next door was exchanging messages with his little girlfriend on the mobile phone to talk about love. Cough cough cough. I agreed on the Nordic Bachelor program, but now the people around me are basically in pairs. Peter, do you have a cold? Wanda noticed that he kept coughing, so she asked concerned. In these 2 days of contact, she quite likes little Spider-Man. At least he is a rare pure boy in the Avengers, unlike others who are all wily and calculating. No, I'm just a little motion sick. Peter hastened to defend himself. Wanda, he is in good health. Young people don't get sick easily, let alone a young man like him. There was something in Lizzy's words, and when he turned his head, he also noticed little Spider-Man's pair of sunglasses. The shade is Edith, a super artificial intelligence who controls several Avenger satellites under the Stark Corporation. As well as a powerful network system, it can almost invade any network that is not a state agency. The glasses were given by Nick Fury, and its real owner is the deceased Tony Stark. He said a word, wearing a crown, must bear its weight. Take up the responsibility and carry on the mantle of Iron Man. Apparently, he overestimated little Spider-Man a bit. Mr. Lee is right, I am in better health than the average person. Peter Parker had a simple mind, with an awkward smile on his immature face. However, he also looked at the Oriental man in front of him again, remembering what Nick Fury said yesterday, and asked himself to pay more attention to Lizzy. Peter Parker, what are you thinking? You're only going to break Wanda's heart. Peter thought about it and shook his head immediately. For a long time, it was rare for Wanda to have someone who cared. He couldn't do that, as it would destroy the relationship between the two. At that time, wouldn't he become the chief culprit, a sinner? So Peter put Nick Fury's words behind him. And Lizzy in front frowned slightly, because he felt that little Spider-Man's mood swings were very strange. Are all adolescent children in America like this? A moment of entanglement, a moment of shame. But he didn't care too much. If he trusted Wanda the most in the Avengers organization, then the second person must be little Spider-Man Peter. This kid has a simple mind, otherwise, how could he be brushed around by the mysterious guest? After all, I have never been beaten by society. For the rest of the journey, except for the fact that Peter Parker used Edith to almost cause the vehicle to roll over, the rest of the time was calm and the journey was safe. Definitely only Lizzy and Wanda know about this matter. It also made Wanda a little angry. If the driver hadn't been good at driving, the bus would have rolled down the mountainside long ago. As night fell, the bus finally drove into the bustling city of Prague, where countless people sang and celebrated the festival on the bustling streets. The bus brought everyone to the hotel. The resplendent hotel lobby and the dazzling ceiling lights made countless people exclaim, "Oh Peter, it's so cool here. The super agent is awesome." Ned couldn't help exclaiming, "That's not a good thing." Peter Parker looked distressed, half of his plans were disrupted. But it's all over here. He could only obey and follow his classmates to listen to the teacher's arrangement. It's just that there is a high probability that it is Nick Fury's handwriting. The other side. The black stewed egg is still a bit sincere. Lizzy looked around the hotel environment. Sure enough, a super agent is absolutely greedy. Even if he is away for 5 years, he can do things that countless people can't do in a lifetime with just the financial resources in his hands. Actually, I don't have much affection for him either. Wanda thinks that Nick Fury is a man with a very deep city, and like Hydra, he does not compromise the means to achieve the goal. But a lot of the time it's about the world. No, I think he's not bad now, and Black Braised Egg has prepared a double room for us. Lizzy checked the information on the app and found that the single room was upgraded to a double room. Quote? Wanda rolled his eyes at him speechlessly. I really want to pry your head open and see what you're thinking. No, I'm afraid you can't help it. Lizzy looked a little ambiguous. I want to know what is going on in the mind of a man facing a sexy woman or a woman he cares about. All I can say is that it was exciting. At this time, Peter Parker walked over quietly, and whispered like a thief, Wanda, Fury asked me to inform you that we have to gather for a meeting later, and the time is tight. No problem. Knowing that her expression was serious, Wanda didn't think about delaying it, so she turned her head and kissed Lizzy, and then said softly, Lee, you go back first, listen to me obediently and don't go out at night, I will take care of everything. Lizzy was stunned for a moment. The softness of the lips just now was reminiscent of the beautiful figure in front of her, and she was already walking out of the hotel. Come on, Wanda. Moment. He came to the hotel room. After putting all the luggage away and creating the illusion that someone is taking a shower in the bathroom. With a wave of his hand, he changed into a set of Chinese ancient chivalrous clothes. How can it be possible to stay in the room obediently? It's so boring. A mask conjured up in Lizzy's hand, and he put it on slowly. Coming to the Marvel Universe to lie flat for months is just plain boring. Now it's hard to come to a mystery guest to play. How could he easily let go of his playful nature? Mystery, let me borrow your script this time to make my shadow group famous all over the world. The words fell. Lizzy's figure merged with a shadow behind him and disappeared into the room. If it weren't for the clothes and luggage on the bed, it would have been as if no one had ever been in the room. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.